Friday, September 26th, 4 days before the end of the month. It is fall now. We're a couple of days into fall. This is the area where kids are going back to school, and this is a renewal of the year, and the fiscal year is ending. All of those things are happening, and so we are in the middle of our 90-day run. Willie gave a fantastic call yesterday. However, I didn't record. So hopefully he's prepared to give us a recap of what he talked about yesterday so we can get some of those awesome nuggets recorded. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring in my brother, Minister Willie Mooney.
Great morning, Kathy. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly. Yes, sir.
Awesome and amazing. Well, you know what, things happen. But what I love is it don't stop if we are willing. Let me just say I do appreciate you. Life does we get life in, let me tell you. So the wonderful thing is that I was going to move forward with the second part of the message. But it's like, you know what, we team. And I talked to my wife, and she was like, she didn't get it either, right? So there was a lot of people who probably didn't get the message. And I'm like, you know what? Things happen for a reason. So what I'm actually going to try my best to do outside of just a recap, because it's such an important training. This is more than just motivation. I don't. It could be motivating, but let me say this. Yeah, it could be motivating, and the motivating part is maybe this is for you because it's still not the end, and it's not too late. So with the spirit of that, it's not too late. I'm going to share this message the best way that I can again. Let me ask Kathy, how many people are on the call?
Currently 27, well, now 28. It'll probably grow, but
Oh,
28 now.
got it. Love it. So I would suggest, right, even though this is being recorded, you want to get an early start at what I'm about to share, right? And get to running. So if you anticipate having, and I think this applies across the board, especially with, and I'm gonna say it this way, with the transition that our country is going into. Um, I think this applies across the board that you can get an early adopter start to making sure that your November, your future has this type of explosion, right? But you have to be on the ground running. So, and this may be more for the leaders who will motivate other leaders or people to get them moving. But I really just think it's so powerful. And it is centered around duplication. And I'm going to talk to you today about a funnel. A funnel is, I think everybody pretty much knows what a funnel, just in case you don't. A funnel is something that it has a wide mouth at the top of it and a smaller, if you go from top to bottom, it has a smaller mouth at the bottom of it, and it allows for you to pour in large volumes of whatever it is, liquid, sand, whatever the case may be, to try to, usually we use it to fit it into a container that might have a small mouth. So taking large volumes, pouring it into the funnel to get it into a container that has a smaller entry. So we call that a funnel. Now, the concept that I'm going to share with you today is still a funnel process. And if I had to say, let's look at it by the number of people that you talk to. Say you take a dropper of our tincture and you put that in the funnel, it's probably going to fall straight through. And it's not going to go through the process because there's a process that happens in the funnel. But if you take, let's say, a whole gallon of water and try to pour it in the funnel to get it in a jar, to get it to some place, some outcome, Where's that gallon? And as you pour it in, it's going to spend more time in that funnel. It's going to go through a process or a system, and then when it starts to come out, it's going to come out, and you're going to capture if it comes, if it comes out. If something that you put in that funnel doesn't get stuck in the process, then it's going to come out. You can have an expectation of a certain outcome. Let me say it that way. So, duplication, I want to start with this and sharing it with the whole company, sharing it with all the distributors. Duplication doesn't live in what I call convenience, right? Duplication happens in systems, and the funnel process is a system, right? And by working this, what I'm about to give you, by working this system step by step, you're going to engage the people that you put in this funnel from moving from a point of curiosity to commitment, right? Let me say it again. If you work it properly in the month of September, what we have left in this month, which you should get started in October, you're going to move people from the state of curiosity that by November, they'll be willing to make a commitment. And they may do it in between now and November. So if you're being very intentional about how you put people into this funnel that I'm about to give you, then pretty much you can really calculate properly your outcome in November, right? And we're talking about large volume. So these three, I'm going to cover 3 levels. It's a total of 6 levels in the funnel. And I want you to kind of visualize top to bottom. Some of the leaders on the call already have a picture of this, so please get with your upline, because I can't post it under the kind of lifestyle page. It's too much information, and in the visual I don't want everyone to have, particularly because it is strategy, and you don't want people, if they're your prospects or your customers or potential customers, you don't want them to see the process that they're going through, right? So get with your upline leader because they do have it. So call your uplines, get with them. But now, if you're on this call, you can start visualizing and applying what I'm about to share with you. So level 1 of this funnel is called awareness, right? This is the wide mouth of the funnel, the entry of the funnel, and it's called awareness. And this is the initial exposure. So this is the point where all you're doing is sparking curiosity, right? You're not giving anybody the whole story. You're not giving them the spill, right? And rolling off at the mouth and giving them everything. No, you're just teasing them a little bit, dangling a carrot and giving them exposure. Some of you, let me break this down. So these methods include social media posts, a story, a reel, or curiosity content. Curiosity content. I'm saying that more than one time, so you get a curiosity. You're sparking a curiosity. Casual conversations like, hey, have you heard about Akana? And da 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 da. I'll go into that later. Short videos, 2 to 3 minutes of testimony, maybe. Simple invitations, right? Simple invitations. So now here we go. An example of a simple invitation or a simple tease may be, have you heard about Akana? Hold on, you all. Sorry about that. Have you heard about Akana? Hold on one second, you all. Bear with me. This is a part of the recording we'll cut out. Let's see. Bear with me. All right, so here we go. So an example of the tease or the curiosity, it kind of goes like this. Have you heard about a kana that's helping people learn their blood type, right? And yeah, or if you're doing that in verbally, you can say that verbally, or you can send it in an email or whatever with people who you have a relationship with, or let's say if you're doing it on social media, you may ask people in a big box, "Do you know your blood type?" What it so is is the action step is really when you're looking at this process of awareness, it's taking 5 to 10 people, right? You're not worried about the outcome. You're just planting a seed, right? And you at this point of awareness or initial exposure, you're adding as many people to the funnel as possible. You're adding as many people to the funnel as possible. So the goal is just to run that system in the process. The benefit of running that process and running that system, and let me say what not to do. You all don't go posting or talking about the product because that's not necessarily a tease. You're giving them all the information. You're giving them another level of the funnel without even getting them to the exposure, right? The exposure and awareness is not the exposure and awareness of your product, right? So be very careful with doing that. So this is the benefit of running the system, right? You always, by pouring in large volume, you're always keeping that pipeline full. So you don't ever have to really put any emotion into it because you have so many people that you're exposing and that you're making aware. You won't have time to think about one person or what they feel about your company or what they like about it, right? So even if you only move, let's say only 20% of the people that you put in because the benefit because of how many you put in. The thing is that if it's let's say 25% of 800 is 200 people because you put 800 people in that funnel. The thing is as you put in, that's a great outcome. It's 25% of the people that you just exposed. And so what happens is you'll never run out of prospects as you continue to run this system. Now, this is the consequence of not following the system. You're going to end up oversharing too much information, which is going to kill people's curiosity. If you give it all to them in the beginning, do you know there's nothing left for them in the funnel to just go through the step-by-step process and then them leaning in even more to want to be, let's say, it usually say it takes 7 exposures or 7 different points of contact for a person to make a decision. You go give it all to them on the first exposure. So you can end up killing the one thing that may cause them to continue to be engaged, which is curiosity, right? You'll burn. And another thing is that you'll burn through your contacts, right? Quicker and run out of people to talk to. I hear a lot of people saying, I don't have anybody to talk to because they just burn through by talking to everybody. Right? So the key is to fill the funnel and not empty your mouth. Now let me move to the next level. The next level is education. It's where you do share information. And this is where you give a person enough value to lean in even more, right? So you might start with a short video or now a product sample, not necessarily a picture of the product, right? Because ultimately, what would a picture of the product do? Will it make them lean in after you just expose them? Nah. Or you put them in an atmosphere where they can be exposed? Maybe not. But maybe a before and after picture will, right? Maybe a quick testimony or a social proof will, right? Maybe if you invite them to watch a 3 to 5 minute story or replay of somebody's transformation, maybe that will, right? So in the way that you engage that person that's in your funnel and doing that is like, hey, I thought about you. Check this out. Right? Thought about you when I saw this. Check this out. And here we go. You see a story of Mama Dorsey, or you see a picture of her doing Benjamin Buttons. Hey, this young woman is 74. I don't want to get it wrong. Years young, right? And whoa, and she on the pickleball court. Look at this young woman has went from this point to this point. She on the pickleball court. Or this, maybe a picture of Minister Ernestine. That's like, this one young woman is 64. I'm butchering ages, y'all. I know I'm in the ballpark. 64 years young, and she just won a bikini contest. Champion. She's a Pool to Malone champion. There's so many different testimonies. Or this young woman name is Cherie Eppinger, and she's blah, 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 and she running around with Miss Brenda as if they kids in the candy store all around the world. Make them lean in, y'all. Right? So that's some examples, but you might, after you do that, follow up. You should, after giving them a little something, follow up with 24 hours to see their thought. And the goal is to identify who's really genuinely interested that you put in the funnel. And the ones that respond after you ask the questions and they start asking the questions, you're educating them very well, right? And it's just that little bit. So the benefits of running this system is it keeps you as the messenger and not the expert, because you're not doing a whole lot of talking. And it shows the prospects that this is a business that's duplicable. Because think about it, if they see how simple it was of what you just did, you put them in an environment, right? And then you just cause them to lean in a little bit by teasing them again with some information or a story, not the product, right? And then boom, right? Do you know your blood type is an excellent campaign. From that question alone, you got them leaning in. Now, just a little testimony, a little information will have them leaning in it more, right? So the consequences, I like to give the consequences of doing your own thing and following your way and not this system, right? If you're doing all the explaining yourself, making the it makes the prospect or the person think, I could never do what you do. You're doing all that talking and all that jumping around the hoops and doing double dutch. I don't jump rope like that, right? And it can lead the person on the receiving side to just feel like overwhelmed. If you don't want to sell, stop talking a whole lot. Stop doing so much, right? Message starts with me. I didn't give my disclaimer. I used to, y'all, I could talk. I'm a minister. I could talk. I could talk and talk and talk. And I mean, if my wife can tune me out, the person who I ain't my wife probably locked me out quicker. Y'all, I'm not wrapped too tight sometimes, but praise God. So it can lead when you talking and doing all these different hoops and jumps, it can lead the person that you're talking to being overwhelmed, right? Confused. Now, people say, well, I'm confused. Okay. You ain't streamlined the process if they confused. And if they say this, if you hear this, well, let me think about it. That's a clear sign you probably didn't say it too much. So to let me think about it, that means that you went somewhere where it was too early. Those type of responses, let me think about it. You talk too much. So use the tools. This is the key to get you right. Write this down. Use the tools is the rules. Use the tools, not your tongue. Use the tools, not your tongue. And this is the final level that I'm going to cover today. Level 3, personal connection and engagement. Personal connection, engagement. Now, you might be thinking, oh, yeah, this is the time that I get to personally engage and connect with my customer or future business partner. Nope, this ain't for you. You still got to zip it. Zip your lip. This is the part where the person that you have introduced caused them to lean in. This is where this is really the strongest part of sealing the deal. You're going to let them feel the culture. the mission, and see the real results. And that means you have to put them in an environment of an expert or a group in a place where they feel comfortable. Don't you love it if you've ever experienced inviting somebody that you have been courting or dating and you invite them to the family reunion to meet your whole family? And that's when they really learn about you or learn about what the family is like. They get like, hey, give me, baby, you want something to eat? Right? Can you imagine Melissa Boston talking to your person, or Kathy Weathersby because you put them on the call, or Kai out of the K&K show because you put them on the call, and they hearing all this warm and good energy and like, whoa, and they hear the testimonies hand by hand. They seeing your people. They seeing your people, right? They just might sit at the table and break bread with you. So what does this look like? This is a three-way call with your upline, with your leader. This is a Zoom overview. If you so happen to get somebody on the morning calls, I tell you, they're going to be like, what is this a kind of culture and company y'all created? Live events. We have events on October the 4th, right? Battle of the Blood Pipe. Then, oh man, the explosion that's going to happen at the end of October, right? Home parties, vending events, and they seeing posters and banners, and it'll feel like Christmas in July. And the simple introduction is, I would love to introduce you to my partners or the people that are being very successful at what you've already seen, right? And it's so many different languages in that area. See, this step, right? And what I want you to do is connect them with somebody besides yourself. That should be an intentional focus. That should be an intentional focus. That should be an intentional focus. So you're moving them, and the goal is to move them from curiosity to credibility to decision making. See, the person in your atmosphere. Now, you may ask this question once or a couple times or whatever, but when you ask a person, what sticks out to you the most? What did you like about what you saw, what you heard, or what I just exposed to you? Well, if you like that, you're going to love meeting the person, da, 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 da. The benefits of running this system, you all, is that in this part right here, is that it multiplies credibility because it's not just you talking. I just want you to imagine for a minute if it's just you talking to your child, or just you talking to whoever, and you just running off at the mouth. You ain't got nobody standing behind you, on the side of you, whatever, and you telling them about everybody, but they ain't seen nobody. See, we can build trust by exposing them to the culture and the community, that alone. It's so many people that I know, when I move myself out of the way and they meet some of you all, they are amazed. Not too many people amazed by me. I talk too much. Right? Now, the consequences of not following this system and following this part, prospects will stay stuck. The people that you're talking to, they'll stay stuck at curiosity and never move into belief. Minister Mooney, they won't want to do nothing. They ain't moving. I tell them, you telling them ain't going to make them move. Without personal connection, they may feel like it's a great idea, but they may not commit. So let them hear another voice, not just yours. So this is my closing statement, and then I'm done. Y'all know I said, ministers, we can go through 3 closings, 5 closings. Doors of the church are closed. No, I'm just saying. So you'll eventually be able to see the diagram, the view of how this particular funnel looks. I gave you the first 3 levels, but it's not just a picture. It's not just a pretty picture. See, it's a duplicable system that everybody can do. Awareness does spark curiosity, right? And when you educate somebody, that really does build interest. People want to be educated. And then it's the actual engagement in what they have already seen, right, that caused them to lean in and be interested. It's the physical engagement that creates credibility. Like, okay, these are real people. If you follow this process, and if you don't want to feel like you're selling somebody, then follow the process. And if you follow this process and you start now, November, man, you'll see momentum that multiplies as exponential. But remember this, skipping the system might feel, as I shared in last week's message, personal convenience, it might feel convenient, right, in comparison to the system. I like how things just attach, how God is doing that right now. So you could do what's convenient for you, or you can run the system. But if you do what's convenient for you, it will cost you, let me say this word, your harvest. The obedience to the system may feel a little uncomfortable and inconvenient at first, but once you do the system and you see that overflow, you'll be like, oh, I'm content. Oh man, wow. You would be saying, wow, I didn't know that would work. Well, I've been telling you it's going to work. So now through October, let's commit as leaders and people who want to help a lot of people to run the funnel system with a sense of urgency, consistency, and pour in a whole lot of faith and belief that what you put in is what's going to come out of that funnel. So that's how we'll close out November, you all, with a sound boom of victory and scaling our companies like we've never, ever seen before. All right, I'm closing on that. You all, I'm going to give it to Kathy, but we will see you at the top, the very top, the tip top, and busting through the top. Back to you, Kathy.
Wow. So glad that you did that recap. Oh man, that was awesome. I can't wait to hear the rest of it, but that was a good amount for us to digest. Thank you so much, Willie. I do see, and just so you know, 43 people were on the call
Wow, praise
today.
God. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
I told
happy
you
for you, 43.
I knew it was gonna go up, right? Friday they
Yeah,
kind of trickle in a little bit later because end of the week. But wow, that was awesome. Don't forget that the Rubies and Above call is after this. Is that right, Minister?
that is absolutely correct. Thank you so much. Rubies and above, see you soon. See you
I'll see
shortly,
you
right
on the
after.
call too. There is going to be rebounding after this. Tomorrow is an opportunity for you to get those prospects that he talked about, whether they're customers or distributor prospects. That's not for you to determine, that's for them to determine. So you put them in front of the information and ask them what they like best about what they saw. Just like Willie said, this is the process, right? The tools are the rules, right, Willie? And so so put them on the tool that we have tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, Sunday, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. You'll have two opportunities for them to see our opportunity, the opportunity for them to get healthier, and if they're business minded, the opportunity for them to take that, run with it, and turn it into a business. Whichever one they choose, Willie, don't we win no matter what they say?
We really do. And you know what? I'm thank you, Kathy, for going this route. You all don't play small. Try to set a goal of 5 to 10 a day and know what you want that number to be like at the end of October. Say 200 people. Say to yourself 800 people. Because, and think, 25% of what you're going to put in is what's going to come out. 25%. Right? So don't play small by only talking to one person a day. And I'm going to say it like that. But if that's your schedule, if that's where you are, cool. But systematically move yourselves to higher levels. All right, back to you, Kathy.
Awesome. I love it. Alrighty, guys, go out, have an iconic kind of day, have a fantastic weekend. And during the weekend, remember to use the tools because those are the rules. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you next time.